Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Logan Lynn Roberts, and I'm here with Katie Geuin. How are you, Katie?
I'm great. Logan, how you doing tonight?
I'm really good, Katie. I'm excited to do a hangout with you. I've been doing hangouts for a while over on Google Plus, and told my story a couple times. But I met you in Orlando, and really had a good time. And so I think that what I'm realizing in the business that we're in together is that we have a lot of amazing people that have a lot of amazing talents and stories and serious professional backgrounds that we wouldn't even realize, and it's been exciting to learn their stories. So I'd love it if you would kind of give us your bio real quick. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure. I actually came from corporate America. I worked corporate management for 30 years and got laid off in '05 with a lot of other people. And actually, first time was in '03 and then again in '05, and it was a cycle. But had a very nice career in corporate America. I did a lot of facilities management, started out in the real estate department. My background was construction and real estate, and eventually took on kind of creating that as the company started. It was a new company then too, and went in and helped develop that. Then I went in and helped develop a mail room and started doing more work with facilities and moves and relocations and records, and then took on telecommunications and you name it, it seemed like I took it on, and it eventually wound up directing a billing department, which was totally out of my ballpark, but it was a wonderful experience, and I learned a lot from it. It's been all good. I learned a lot in corporate America. Now it's
That
time to
that's
change
so cool. That's so cool that I feel like we have a lot of commonalities, like in our backgrounds, because I worked in real estate here in Philadelphia, and
that.
I too, I was a director of sales for a hotel before that, before I moved here, and it just kind of just fell together that I ended up in real estate, and the way that I got my job was literally I started stuffing envelopes after
Oh,
being again a director of sales at a hotel. But anyway, that was fine. I stuffed envelopes for a couple of weeks, but it slowly worked my way through every department of the company, from quote unquote marketing to accounting, and then to property management, which I loved, which I think that we identified on a few things about today, to my boss's third assistant, to his second assistant, to getting my license, being his first licensed assistant. I think that um, you know, that if you're willing to put yourself out there, you certainly can get recognition in corporate America. But I think that the reality is that you're always working for someone else, right? So when was the moment that you decided that you wanted to work for yourself?
after I left corporate America, I realized then, as I was leaving, that I would probably never go back to corporate America, that I wanted to put everything that I spent 30 years learning and applying to somebody else and use it for me.
Yeah.
And pretty much what I did is I have a love of antiques and collectibles, and I started a simple eBay business, quite honestly. My husband was retired. It gave me the opportunity to work from home, and I've made a great living off of eBay, and I've enjoyed it very much. It's like, why use line somebody else's pocket? I may as well do my own at this point.
I love that, and that's so funny too, because like I just literally left and never went back. And because I didn't know how to internet market, right? And so like obviously now we know, like there's like all these like companies that'll like teach you how to market on eBay. You didn't use a company, you just started like making your own money. Like you figured out a way to do it,
That's
and
it.
that's so funny because I would reach out to companies that actually didn't have an affiliate program. Like every marketer's looking to get a tool that has that'll give you a link and let you share and try to make some money on it. And me, I was trying to find the ones that didn't, because what I would do is I would approach them and say, listen, I have a following on I have a following on Google Plus. You know, if I could bring you if I could bring you this X so many more accounts this month, would that be worth it to give me an affiliate link, with this percentage commission? And I wasn't competing with anyone for that affiliate link,
Sure.
and they were very open, and I actually recommend people do it more often, right? But it's just so funny because now, being in the network marketing sort of realm, right? We realize, like, how many systems, how many companies there are that do this already.
A lot.
And I remember talking to you in Orlando, and we were just chatting about, you said, yeah, I work can do that. I do that stuff on eBay. I do that stuff, right? Because I was interested in learning more about it. Mm-hmm. And you were like, yeah, that's like how I've made money. And I just think it's so cool, because it's like you're either just an entrepreneur or you're not. And I identify with you in that whatever we are going to do, we're going to do it 100%. Like we're going to learn it all. We're going to do it all, whether it's our business or someone else's. And I think that it's a sort of harsh sort of realization that sometimes, you've spent a lot of time working to make somebody else, a lot of money. And even if it is appreciated, it's still,
It's not for yourself.
Yeah.
Still for somebody else.
Right.
If you have the just add water mentality, you can go out and do anything.
I know. Very cool. Katie, so the reason that we decided we were going to do a recording today was, number one, I think both you and I are focused on just expecting a little bit more from ourselves in terms of creating some content, putting it out there, and trying to help other people. So you said something to me today that really, really resonated, and I think I felt like it was important enough that we should chat about it, right? And what you said was, most people live in the weeds, no pun intended. But it's so true that most people live in the weeds. Most people, when you ask how their day is, they're able to tell you all the things that went wrong, or all the things that they need, all the problems they had. I can assure you that I have my fair amount of problems. I literally couldn't list one for you right now. I never think that way, and it's such a clear delineation between the people that live in the weeds and the people that don't. And I don't think that you have to live in the weeds. And so we started to go back and forth, and I think that you had a really, just had a really great way of putting it. And so when you said that to me, what did you really mean?
Well, a lot of people that get lost in the weeds feel overwhelmed by the task at hand. Sometimes it's a bigger mountain than they think they can climb because it's new to them. Particularly if it's something new, they get stymied by it and just stand there and look at it. And if instead of doing that, you start taking a look at it from a much higher level. So start it out with, what is it that I really need to accomplish? What's the outcome? What's the end result that I'm looking for? If you can start looking at it at a higher level, instead of way down here where you can't see anything, you can start to see pieces of part of it fall into place much easier. So that was one of the first things we talked about.
Yeah.
You have to excuse my throat. I'm still getting over a little bit of a cough thing that I brought back from Orlando with me. I was still dragging that on.
I can't believe you still have it, but yeah, I had it too. I think we all had. I think we all had like a lot, too much fun, right? I think that we all enjoyed each other's company too much. I had such a blast with everyone. But yeah, I did a video today called, it was 3 marketing tips in 3 minutes, and the last tip, and it's so important, is before you recruit anyone into your business, ask yourself one question: would I save this person a beach chair on the beach when we're both millionaires, right? Because for you to be a millionaire, your downline has to be successful.
That's right.
More successful than your upline. That's the reality. Everybody's so concerned with who they're, I didn't have a good upline. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. Well, guess what? There's more to have.
Your own upline.
What's that?
You are your own upline.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I was messing around with video last night. I personally am lucky enough to have the best upline in the world, basically, and Ray the Force Dietrich is in my upline, and he's the funnel master, and for some reason, every once in a while the Force has to sleep, and So I just created my own funnel I just created a funnel. I had never done it before, and so I just did it. And I wish more people would just have that attitude, right? Like, I didn't know how to do it, but it wasn't like I was going to do something wrong, right?
No.
Ray does plenty for me. Like, I want it. I just like to, show them up anyway. But prove to him that I can do it, right? But no. But it was just one of those things. I remember thinking in that moment that, and listen, it could have gone wrong, and then I just would have had him fix it, or I would have figured out how to fix it. But the thing was that I was just willing to go do it.
Right.
Because I wasn't willing to sit there and say, oh, my upline went to sleep, and like he said he'd make me a funnel, and you just can't afford to think that way, because I could have done that. And then, it still wouldn't have been done, right? Like, it wouldn't have changed anything. And what's cool is that I feel like I learned something, I learned sort of a really cool, important skill. I found a really great app. And I said something to him today. I was like, you should really use Megaphone app. He's like, okay, funnel queen, right? Like, who do I think I'm talking to? But, yeah, I think that you're so right. Like, you have to be your own upline, I mean, it's important when you join a company to consider who you're joining with. Would you agree?
I would. And at the end of the day, you have to be your own partner, and you can have the most amazing upline. I'm fortunate to have the same situation with Dave Walters, Mascaris, and Habers above me. I've got incredible people to go to. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I have to make things work. Mm-hmm. It's all on me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's just that you just have to be very comfortable saying, I'm just moving forward. I'm not going to focus on whether I have a good upline or not. What I'm going to focus on is whether or not I have a great downline, right? That's what's more important.
Yeah. It's much more. It's much more important. It's important for there, because I'm going to go back to being in the weeds with that.
Yeah.
What you said about the complaining. If you stay there, if you stay living in the weeds and all you see are the reasons why you can't do something, you're never going to do anything. You're going to stay in the weeds. You can blame your upline, your downline, sideways, forwards. It doesn't matter. You can blame your husband, your wife, your kids got in the way. You can, any excuse you want. But at the end of the day, it's still about you and whether or not you choose to stay down in those weeds, or do you want to choose to get out of them and figure out, what is it that I want to do? What do I want out of this? And start drilling down instead of trying to drill up through all of them.
Yeah. I love it. Here's the thing, right, is you can blame everyone you want. But you still, I guess, don't get paid in this case, right? It's like, you can blame whoever you want, but here's the thing, my mortgage bill still comes, right? My Comcast bill, which is like $200 and pisses me off every time, still comes. Mm-hmm. My cell phone bill and health insurance and all those bills still come.
That's right.
I don't have kids. I don't even have a cat. No one depends on me but me, but and I'm lucky that way, because it gives me a little bit of freedom to do some of these things and pursue some of passions of mine. Right. But the reality is that there's also no one here to, pick up the bill if it doesn't work out. Right. And, I've never blamed anyone for holding me back from achieving the level of success that I want to achieve. So we started to talk about this. You wrote an excellent blog about this, and I'm sure you're going to be posting sometime soon, and we'll talk about your blog and make sure we get the link out there soon. But before the end of this, so make sure we'll have it underneath the video as well. So make sure to click on that, guys. But I said to you, definitely don't read from the blog, right? I actually said, will you read it to me? Because I'm not good at reading it. Like I'm reading, I don't process well, but listening, I'm really good for. I sat and listened to, to your blog, and there were 4 points that just screamed at me.
Right.
And actually, I think that while you were reading, I don't even think that they were things that you had, like they were things that as you read it, you thought of and, realized, and it was 4 awesome sort of points to what you need to do to get out of the weeds. So I would absolutely love it if you would kind of would go over those with everybody, because it's time, like it's that point where people should write this down, because I think it's really, really important.
It is, and it's very simple.
Yeah.
It feels overwhelming when you're in the weeds, but it really is a simple transaction, I'll say, to get out of the weeds.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing you have to do, the first big thing, is you really do have to figure out what's your desired outcome. What's the end result that you want?
Number one, right?
That's number one. If you don't have what your end result is and what the outcome's going to be, you're not going to get anything done because you have no clue where you're going. So you have to do that. And do it in 10 words or less.
I love that.
Don't convolute it. Don't make it so big and so large that the one big thing is scary. Make it simple. 10 simple words or less.
Hold yourself to that. 10 words.
10 words. Just 10 words or less. And I guarantee
yes. Right? Like you only need 10. Like if you can't say what you really want, in 10 words or less, then it's too broad. Right?
Well, you haven't thought, then you probably really haven't thought through what it is that you want as the outcome.
Yep.
Can't do it, then you probably haven't thought it through all the way yet. Would be what I would say.
So number one is define what it is that you really want in 10 words or less.
Yep.
Number two.
Number two. Now you're going to start breaking it down into 3 or 4 big buckets or big steps. So it's not so horrifying to you, because now you're looking at it from up here. So now you can kind of take a look down at it and think, what is it that I need to do? And just develop 3 or 4 simple buckets.
I really like 3.
Three's the best.
I like 3.
Pick the 3, it's the best, because that's where you're going to look for your tools. What are you going to need to do this job? What tools do you need to do the job? What resources do you need to do this job? Do I need training? Do I need development? Do I need products? Do I need some internet marketing help? What do I need? And then who are the people that can help you? Who are the people? Resources just don't come in one flavor. They come in people, and they also come in a hard product, such as a computer, such as a product line. There's hard product and soft product, I'll call it. So what people to help you as well.
So you said tools. So I think we moved to number 3, by the way. Number 2 was getting into 3, but I like 3. 3 buckets. No 4, right? 4, shut the door, right? 3. Number 2 is getting into 3 buckets. Categorize that 10-word first statement that you made, all right? And so these are, now what you're doing is you're taking that big idea and putting it into 3 smaller goals, right? Ultimately, right? Buckets, goals, but literally, buckets. I love that visual, right?
They're buckets.
And number 3 was that then figure out what tools, resources, and people you need to solve to solve the problems of each one. And, when we were talking about this, it's like it all makes sense, because it's like all you do is add I, right? And it's tools, resources, people, add I, so TRIP, and it's a trip of a lifetime, right?
It's an absolute trip of a lifetime.
It's too perfect,
God agrees with us.
I love it, right? And so there was one more tip there. We had one more, right? We had 4.
One was to make sure that when you break it down into those buckets, that each bucket has very achievable goals that you can build on for the next step and for the next step, and that you're keeping them achievable. I'm going to kind of go into an analogy in that we oftentimes get a lot of tools and training. There's so much material out there, and depending on the company you're with, you may be getting massive, massive training from them. Other companies may not. You may be going online and looking on your own. But at the end of the day, a carpenter does not use his entire toolbox at the same time. He uses a tool at a time. He gets the hammer out. He's got the nail. he's hammering that nail, but he's not got a saw going over here and trying to hammer at the same time, because you can't get anything done that way, and you can't get any traction. So make sure
approach it strategically, I think, is, you know, like you probably would take the hammer and nails and anywhere that needed a nail, you would use that tool and nail it in, right? This is a terrible analogy for me because I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to this stuff. But you wouldn't, you know, then you would take everywhere that needs a screw, right? And you would then go around and do the screw, right? If you're working in a certain area, like, and that's, I think, the idea is to create, you know, a strategic way of attacking things.
Exactly right. Break it down. Break it down into smaller pieces you can eat.
Right, and I think that I love the visual with the bucket because it makes sense, because it's just all about being able to categorize things, you know, and then setting goals. And I say this all, you know, I've said this to a lot of people, and I don't know, most people don't listen. A lot of internet marketers will tell you to spend all this time making lists, right? We had this conversation. And here's the reality, guys. You should have one goal per day that you are going to accomplish. That's it. One. And every day you should accomplish a goal. Because here's the thing. If you want to take 5 minutes a day to write a list, right, that's 5 times 7 is 35 minutes a week. Times 4 is 140 minutes a month. That's 2 hours that month that you lost to making a list. And that's 28 hours a year. That's a day. So if you had an extra day, Katie, could you accomplish another goal?
Oh, yes, I could accomplish a whole lot more goals.
Right. So we're saying be strategic, right? But we're not. What we're saying is, and we talked about this, is that you want to have the mindset to be able to learn those tools and use those resources and find the people that you need to find as you go.
As you go.
As you go.
It's simple. It keeps it simple. It keeps it simple, right?
We just know what we're talking about. We just have it all figured out. I mean, that's certainly not the case, right? But I know that from meeting you once, I know you're not somebody who lives in the weeds. And sometimes I will have, and I never see it coming because I wouldn't have signed them if I did, but every once in a while I'll have someone in my downline that every time we talk, there's 4 things wrong. And, 8 things kind of right, and they know about all of them, and they can list it, as soon as you get on the phone, and I just don't have time. And quite honestly, I have a really strong mindset, but it's not strong enough that I can take on all your shit, too, to be quite honest with you. I realize that about myself because I've tried that in the past. I'm one of those people. I'll try to take it on for you. Well, the reality is that I'll sink. And again, like the mortgage, that bill still comes, right? And all that shit still happens. So I'm glad we didn't get through the video without me cursing, because that would have been too much, right? But it's true. And, I think that decide to, I don't know, cut the grass or something, right? Just decide that you're not going to let anything, you're just not going to let things that happened yesterday affect tomorrow, because you can only affect tomorrow. You can't. You can't fix yesterday. Right? All right. Well, listen, it was awesome because we would have been jamming back and forth, not on actually live. So it's cool that we did that. Why not, right? Yeah. What I'd love, Katie, is just kind of a final call to action. Again, I know you have an awesome blog going on. Tell us about what you'd like, people to do to get to know you better.
Well, probably the best way right now is to reach out to me on Facebook. Pretty easy to find. I'm the only Katie Geuin out there. So it's pretty easy to find. You'll find my blog link there. And some links.
Give me the blog link right now. What is it?
Oh, the blog link right now?
Well, I mean, what's the URL? I don't need the actual link. Just what is it? What is it? What's the link?
KatieGeuin.com.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. So listen, that's where I want people to go and take a look for, and take a look at what you're writing about and the new stuff that you're doing, because I checked it out and it's awesome. For me, yeah, Facebook, and my YouTube channel. I'm going to try to beef that up a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, I'm always Logan Lynn Roberts. I always use the middle name, and you'll find me somewhere, or search my hashtag, right? Hashtag Lo loves it. Anything else that you want to say in closing, Katie?
The only thing I can say is you can't be successful if you're stuck in the weeds. So it's time to get out.
I love it. I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, guys, 10 words or less. What's the big picture? What's your ultimate goal? And then separate it 3 buckets, right? 3 categories. What tools, resources, people do you need to get there? Add I, and what 1 goal a day.
We have the best of our life.
It's perfect. All right, thanks so much, Katie. It was fun.
All right, talk to you soon.
Have a good one.